Good afternoon, everyone. Oh my goodness, one more time. Good afternoon. Oh, thank you so much. Welcome to the 37th annual presentation of the Martin Luther King Jr. Business Awards, presented by Health One and Molson Coors. I'm Tamara Banks, your MC this afternoon, and I am so thrilled to see each and every one of you. A lot of you are here with us live and in person, but we are also streaming for those of you who aren't able to be with us. So no matter where you are or how you are watching us, welcome. Thank you so much for being here during sort of a different time in our history, isn't it? This little thing called the pandemic. We are here to honor 6 individuals and 2 companies and celebrate their community service work that they have done. And we are also here to honor a very unique and wonderful trailblazer with the Trailblazer Award, someone who has done really amazing work in the civil rights space. We have a lot happening this afternoon, so to get the show going, or I guess I should properly say to give the invocation, please welcome, to lead us in prayer, it is my privilege to introduce to you Reverend Thomas Mays, the president of the Greater Denver Ministerial Alliance.
Let us pray. Heavenly Father, we're here today because of you. Not only that, Lord, but we're here because you're the creator of the universe. We invoke your presence because we understand that where the Spirit of the Lord is, there's liberty. We've come into an intersection of celebration and with many obstacles in our path, racial unrest, COVID, lost loved ones, events that have shaken the very foundation of our democracy, and so much more. But also, Father, we stand with a desire to find a season to exhale. We come knowing many of us in our journey see you differently and even call you by different names, and perhaps some question if you really exist. But we realize you have indeed made us unique. While there are nearly 8 billion people in this world, every one of them has their different fingerprints. You've numbered the hairs on their head, and yet you see us all as the same, your children, your handiwork, and you desire that we see one another through your eyes. On January 15th, 1929, you gave our world a gift, which we celebrate and we commemorate today, Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. And as we commemorate and celebrate this week, we invoke your presence in this place where liberty and justice may forever prevail. Amen, amen, and amen.
Thank you, Reverend. That was absolutely perfect and beautiful. One of my favorite songs is Lift Every Voice and Sing, and I've always wanted to have like Kirk Franklin or maybe Jonathan Butler do a rendition of that. I think that would be amazing. Lift Every Voice and Sing, as many of you may know, was first performed as a poem to honor Abraham Lincoln's birthday in 1900 by about 500 Florida students. James Weldon Johnson wrote the words, and his brother John wrote the music. Great team. This song became known as the Black National Anthem. Here to perform Lift Every Voice and Sing, she's coming to the stage. I didn't see her earlier, and I was praying, please, baby Jesus, let her be here, because I don't want to sing this song by myself. It took a lot to get everybody here. Don't let me sing and scare everybody. Please welcome Mrs. LaShandria Gray.
Good afternoon. Lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven ring. Ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise high as the listening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling seas. Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. Facing the rising sun of our new day begun. Let us march on till victory is won. God of our weary years, God of our silent tears, thou who hast brought us thus far away, thou who hast by thy might led us into the light. Keep us forever in the path, we pray, lest our feet stray from the places, our God, where we met thee, and lest our hearts, drunk with the wine of the world, we forget thee. Shadow beneath thy hand, may we forever stand true to our God, true to our native land.
Let's give LaShandra another big warm round of applause. That was amazing. Thank you. I always get choked up a little bit when I hear that song, and she performed that so beautifully. Well, this has been a challenging year for all of us, right? Including those who are in leadership positions. Colorado has had a particularly tough year. Of course, the pandemic, and then a mass shooting, and then the new year ushered in the worst wildfire in Colorado history. But our governor says this state and its people are strong, and he's optimistic about the future. Here to welcome us on behalf of the great state of Colorado is the Honorable Jared Polis.
Thank you, Tamara. Hi, everyone, and welcome to the 37th annual presentation of the Martin Luther King Jr. Business Awards. I wish I could join you in person, but I didn't want to miss this opportunity to be with you virtually and to celebrate your important contributions. We wouldn't be celebrating today without the leadership and innovative thinking of Miss Wilma Webb, who founded these awards in 1986. Thank you, Wilma. I want to congratulate this year's award recipients: No Justice, No Peace Podcast, John Bailey, First Bank Multicultural Banking Center, Samuel Engineering, and Dennis Gallagher, who's receiving the Trailblazer Award. Your work is not only benefiting the community, but our entire state. So congratulations once again. Thank you for all that you are doing for bettering Colorado. Thank you, Tamara. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 37th annual presentation of the Martin Luther King Jr. Business Awards.
Thank you, Governor. Mayor Michael Hancock is no stranger to this event. He attended this event several times as the president of the Urban League of Denver. He was elected to the Denver City Council in 2003 and then mayor in 2011. To welcome us on behalf of the City and County of Denver is the Honorable Mayor of Denver, Michael B. Hancock.
Greetings, everyone. On behalf of the City and County of Denver, it's my pleasure to welcome you to the 37th annual presentation of these prestigious awards. The Martin Luther King Jr. Business Awards have been part of my life for more than 30 years now, from my time as president of the Urban League, then as a member of Denver City Council, and today, proudly as your mayor. Now, while I'm unable to join you all in person this year, I wanted to take this opportunity to send along my appreciation and to pay tribute to the individual and businesses who are working so very hard every day in the spirit of Dr. King to make Colorado a better place for all of us to call home. And we must never forget the work and efforts of Miss Wilma J. Webb to make the holiday a reality in Colorado. You know, the legacy of Dr. King and the lessons he instilled and the examples he left for all of us have never been more important. Those being honored today are picking up the torch and are joining a long list of those, helping to ensure that the moral universe bends toward justice. Now, please join me in celebrating the character of this year's honorees. The No Justice, No Peace podcast. John Bailey, First Bank Multicultural Banking Center. Samuel Engineering, and the 16th recipient of the Trailblazer Award, Denver's very own former auditor and state legislator, Dennis Gallagher. It should also be noted that we lost a giant in our community last month with the passing of Dr. Sharon Bailey. For many years, she was an exceptional advocate for Black and brown children in our community. Her spirit and dedication will be sorely missed. In remembrance of Dr. King and Dr. Bailey, it's our responsibility to carry the torch, whether it's social justice or the foundation of our democracy and the right to vote and the access to the ballot box. We must continue all the work we've done to make sure that we never see those rights rescinded, pushed back, or reversed. There's a lot of efforts to suppress our vote today and to subvert our ability to get to the ballot box and to make sure that our ballot is counted. Let's make sure we all stand strong with the President and the Vice President and send a very clear message that we will never, never go backwards. We must go forward. And with that, tonight, I say congratulations to all the honorees. And thank you for once again being a part of the observance, one of the best in the nation, of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and all that he stood for right here in our nation.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you to both the governor and the mayor. They truly support this event, and we're grateful for all the support that they give us every year. Now, on April 4th, 1984, 16 years to the day Dr. King's assassination, Governor Richard Lamb signed the historic legislation to officially recognize Martin Luther King Day as a holiday here in Colorado. That legislation was sponsored by then State Representative Wilma J. Webb. 2 years later, she initiated this event to give the business community a chance to recognize and honor Dr. King and those who are in the business community doing amazing work. To reflect on the history of this event are the former mayor of Denver, the Honorable Wellington E. Webb, and the Honorable Mrs. Wilma J. Webb, the founder and chair emeritus of the Dr. King Holiday Commission. Now, for the first time in its history, the Webbs are not able to be here. They are actually preparing for a going home for a friend of ours, Odell Berry. So today, they're preparing their prayers and support for the family, but they do send their love. They wish they could be here, but other duties call them to say goodbye to their good friend, but we do have them on tape.
Fulfillment of the dreams that Dr. King shares with his people. The Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. holiday is one of the most important holidays that we celebrate, primarily because it is the holiday that requires that we reflect on our consciences. For that reason alone, with Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. being the humanitarian that he was and being the person who had the highest moral standards that we require of Americans, it's really important and appropriate that we continue to celebrate his birthday in the spirit of the life that he led. Dr. King, as you know, was assassinated in 1968, and it wasn't until 1980 that we were able to carry legislation, and then 1984 it was adopted, and then 86 was the first year of the celebration. I myself carried 4 bills to declare the birthday of Dr. King a national and state and official holiday. Of course, there were those who had tried before, particularly State Representative, formerly known as Mayor Wellington Webb, carried legislation in the 1970s.
I introduced it, but the passion behind it was after Wilma was elected. She focused so hard on it that it became a community mantra. And people told her that she would never get it passed during her lifetime. 1, because she was a Democrat, 2, because she was a woman, and 3, because she was black. After it passed, the Speaker of the House tried to punish her by taking her committee assignments away from her, by killing every bill she introduced. She had to go to court and sue the legislature and sue the Speaker of the House to get her committee assignments back.
The legislation passed without any monies being provided to celebrate this holiday. And the business community stepped forward. They gave us our first offices in the United Bank building. And they also decided that perhaps after we had raised the necessary funds for that first year, that we should provide scholarships for young people to go to college, both here in Colorado and outside of Colorado. After the legislation was adopted, I wanted to include everybody because then the holiday belongs to everybody.
I think it's so important to remember the past to avoid mistakes for the future. We need to know our own history. If we don't know our own history, then we're bound to repeat it.
Thank you again to the Webbs. And just imagine introducing a bill. How many times? 4 times did she say? And keep getting shot down, and then you're punished for actually succeeding. So again, in particular, Mrs. Webb, we thank you, thank you, thank you. The Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Colorado Holiday Commission was formed in 1986 to develop a series of events that would commemorate Dr. King's holiday here in Colorado. This Business Awards Luncheon is just one of a few of the events going on throughout this week and the upcoming weekend, and then of course Monday, the parade. So check into your program and you'll see all the fun stuff going on you can still participate in. To tell us a little bit more about the important work of the Commission, please welcome to the podium Dr. Vern L. Howard, the Commission Chair.
Good afternoon. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the 37th Annual Dr. Martin Luther King Business Awards. 37 years. We've been doing this 37 years. I remember the very first year we did this, though. We didn't have the support that we have here today, and the number of people that we had to give tickets to fill the house was surprising. However, I'm standing here on behalf of the Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Colorado Holiday Commission, and I ask our commissioners if you'll stand or raise your hands so you can be recognized. Ross Duman, Brother Ray Brown, Dr. Mays, Furthermore, we'd like to congratulate the honorees this year for their content of character. No Justice, No Peace, John Bailey, First Bank Multicultural Center, Samuel Engineering, and my good dear friend, Dennis Gallagher. Ladies and gentlemen, we have the honor of being able to announce that McGraw-Hill will be sponsoring a scholarship for the next 6 years in the name of Ambassador Andrew Young to a HBCU. And the Dr. Martin Luther King Commission, we are introducing an education initiative to have the principles of nonviolent social protest taught in Denver public schools, Aurora public schools, and all public and private schools in Colorado. It's been adopted by the King Center, endorsed by Andrew Young, and adopted in Georgia and Tennessee. Once again, for 37 years, we've hosted this event, and we have an angel who has been with us for 30 of those years. That angel's name is Tamara Banks, an Emmy Award-winning journalist who actually lives in Atlanta now. And still, she is so connected to our community that she honors us by coming not only for the humanitarian awards, but this award too. We have a little presentation for you, Tamara. On behalf of the Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Colorado Holiday Commission and the Martin Luther King Business Award, we'd like to present this award to honor Tamara Banks in recognition and appreciation of emceeing Martin Luther King Jr. Business Awards for 30 years. She did it right out of the womb, y'all.
Oh my gosh, Vern. You guys are going to make me cry, and I just put new mascara on. Thank you very much. I wouldn't miss this for the world. I never asked to come. They just keep asking me back. So it is truly my honor and a blessing to honor some amazing people in the civil rights and social justice space. And you will remember that on July 17th, 2020, we lost a true icon in the civil rights movement when Congressman John Lewis passed away. Over the past 37 years of this event, we have had some really incredible keynote speakers with some really insightful messages, and very, very memorable, but probably none as memorable as the one in 1990 when the congressman from Georgia was here, John Lewis. I got a chance to meet him since I've moved to Atlanta, just not too long before he passed away. And what a gentle giant and an amazing person with a very wonderful spirit, and he's truly missed. Here is a special tribute to the man who has meant so much to so many people, not just here in Colorado, but throughout the country and really the world.
As a freedom rider and as a congressman, John Lewis spent his life fighting for equality. But was the speech he gave at the 1963 March on Washington that gained him national attention? Tonight, a look back.
We must say, wake up, America, wake up, for we cannot stop, and we will not and cannot be patient.
It was the day that Americans remember for Martin Luther King Jr.'s I Have a Dream speech. But it was the youngest speaker, John Lewis, who is remembered for giving the most fiery address.
But we want to be free now.
At age 23, Lewis had already been arrested for leading sit-ins to integrate whites-only lunch counters. Organizers were worried about his references in a speech to revolution and violence.
My friends, let us not forget that we are involved in a serious social revolution.
Lewis planned to rally the crowd to march through the South the way Sherman did and burn Jim Crow to the ground nonviolently. Instead, he said this:
But we will march with the spirit of love and with the spirit of dignity that we have shown here today.
Hundreds of thousands listened to him that August day at the Lincoln Memorial. Almost 60 years later, and just a mile away, he would use his last public appearance to walk a D.C. street renamed Black Lives Matter Plaza.
Very moving, very impressive.
But while honoring George Floyd and others, his words from the 1960s still today resonate loudly for America.
We are tired. We are tired of being beaten by policemen. And then you holler, be patient. How long can we be patient?
In that patience, he embraced what he called good trouble.
Yes, good trouble. And now it's time to enjoy a wonderful lunch. This is one of John Lewis's favorite dishes. It's smothered chicken with some other delicious, great stuff. So enjoy lunch. We'll be back with the rest of the program in just a moment. Thank you. Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back. Welcome back. I hope you're enjoying lunch, one of John Lewis's favorite lunches. For those of you who are joining us here at the Sheraton Hotel in downtown Denver, or if you're streaming at home, I hope you're enjoying your lunch or streaming at your office. I hope it's okay with your boss, or you're probably at home in your office, and that's cool with you too. I don't know about anybody else, but I have been Zooming and on Google Meets and WebEx for so long, I don't wear heels that often, so I'm having a hard time. So if you see me stumbling around, I'm not intoxicated, I just don't remember how to walk in heels anymore. This event would not be possible without the generous support of our benefactors. We have to say thank you to the folks who financially and otherwise make this possible for us. Please help me welcome them one at a time. Health One, our presenting sponsor. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Bravo. Molson Coors, presenting sponsor as well. U.S. Bank, our financial services sponsor. Southwest Airlines, our corporate sponsor. Thanks for the lift from Atlanta. Appreciate you. And CoBank, our award video sponsor. Thank you. I also want to thank our gold patrons, and if you can hold your applause while I read each of those companies. AAA Colorado, Amazon, Excel Energy, CHFA, First Bank, Multicultural Banking, Fly Denver DIA, Holder FCI, a joint venture. Thank you to our gold patrons. And our silver patrons include Brookfield Properties Development, Davis, Graham, and Stubbs LLP, Johns Manville, and Elevation Community Land Trust. Thank you to our silver patrons. And I would like our presenting sponsors and contributing sponsors to take a stand, and so we can acknowledge you as well. Our presenting sponsors and our contributing sponsors, let's give them a big round of applause. You can stand. I know Verdon would stand. Proceeds from today's event will be donated to Denver Kids, Inc. They will select and award Martin Luther King Jr. college scholarships to minority and non-traditional students. So your being here today is actually going to help make some dreams, some educational dreams come true. Please welcome, if you would please, our two presenting sponsors, Maureen McDonald from Health One and Michael Nordman from Molson Coors, as they present a check to today's proceeds, I said, go to Dr. Patrick Byrne of Denver, Inc.
Patrick, I don't know if you can take a picture of that check and send it to your bank or not.
I'll try. Give it a whirl.
Thank you so much, Tamara, Stephen, our commission, and the organizers of this great event. We're here today honoring the late, great Martin Luther King Jr. This man was someone who showed up for his family, his community, for his congregation, and ultimately for his nation. His words and actions have endured the test of time. We at Health One want to congratulate the honorees today for showing up in ways that have made real impact. In reflecting on the last 22 months in healthcare, we want to honor the front line. Reverend Mays talked about seeking a place to exhale. We haven't found that place yet, as our hospitals are filled with COVID patients. the providers that risk their own lives to care for others in uncertain times. Our Metro Denver Health One 11,500 colleagues have shown up to respond to the pandemic and save lives. Their jobs may have been to keep rooms clean, draw blood, deliver food, or diagnose and treat the sick. So many of you and your organizations lifted up our colleagues in healthcare during these challenges. Gifts of food, handwritten cards, chalk art and signs, and of course, the banging of the pans. For that, we're so grateful. We're also grateful to have been recently honored this year as a champion of change by the Women's Chamber, as a Civic 50 community-minded company by the Points of Light Foundation, and the Outstanding Large Business by the National Philanthropy Day in Colorado. We celebrate diversity in our teams, our boards, councils, vendors, and patients. HCA Healthcare, of which Health One is a part, recently announced a pledge to give $10 million over 3 years to the historically Black colleges and universities to advance diversity. Thank you. To advance diversity in healthcare. We are proud members of Colorado Companies Uniting Against Racism and the Colorado Inclusive Economy. We seek fairness and respect in all that we do and strive every day to uphold our mission. Above all else, we are committed to the care and improvement of human life. It means a lot to be here today in this community alongside Molson Coors, supporting the work of Patrick Byrne and his amazing team at Denver Kids, the MLK Awards, the Commission, and this community. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm Michael Nordman, and I proudly serve as the Senior Manager of Community Affairs at Molson Coors Beverage Company. And while I'm based out of Chicago, I enjoy the opportunity to be back here in Denver today, but I really do apologize for bringing this weather, because it's definitely more Chicago. So we are proud to continue our years-long role as presenting sponsor of the Martin Luther King Jr. Business Awards. And we thank Health One for joining us as a presenting sponsor this year, as we celebrate those honorees who are making a difference in Colorado and through their outstanding service, keeping the memory of Dr. King alive. Colorado is the cornerstone of our history and heritage at Molson Coors Beverage Company. We've brewed our beers here for more than 150 years and employed thousands of people at our brewery in the Golden Valley. It also represents our future, as we made a multi-$100 million investment to modernize infrastructure at the brewery that will not only ensure a bright future, but will also ensure the next 150 years are brighter than ever before, and making a significant environmental impact by reducing the energy and water usage and waste upon completion in 2024. Molson Coors is excited to partner with Denver Kids to support their mission centered on educational and economic opportunity, with a commitment to diversity, equity, and inclusion. We believe in working together to strengthen our hometown communities, and that starts by providing economic opportunity and access to higher education opportunities to people of color in under-resourced communities to build the next generation of leaders. For many years, we have supported local organizations like the Colorado Black Chamber and Urban Leadership Foundation of Colorado. Molson Coors also created Project Justice, which is our $1.5 million annual investment in BIPOC-led organizations that are focused on improving the lives of Black, Indigenous people of color in areas of equality, empowerment, community building, and most importantly, justice. Thank you. Thank you. These funds allowed us to support more than 30 organizations that were committed to justice work at a national or hometown level. And locally, we were able to partner with great organizations like the Black Resilience Fund of Colorado to address systemic racism, and the Colorado Criminal Justice Reform Coalition to eliminate overuse of the criminal justice system. We are honored to be a part of today's luncheon, and I want to thank everyone who organized it, including Stephen and Patrick here. We also want to congratulate all of today's awardees for their tireless work across Colorado to ensure the memory of Dr. King is alive. We are excited to join Health One in presenting the check today for $30,000 to Denver Kids as they help shape the next generation of diverse leaders. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Michael and Maureen, and thanks to all of you who support this event, including sponsors, and a huge congratulations to the award winners. I'm Patrick Byrne. I'm the CEO of Denver Kids. Denver Kids is a 75-year-old organization that was founded in partnership with Denver Public Schools and Rotary that serves young people within DPS, a combination of social emotional learning support, wraparound services, and college and career readiness supports. And this partnership has been remarkable, providing necessary resources for support, for training, and also for college scholarships. In fact, I saw one of our graduates earlier, Nigel, who stopped by my desk, and he is starting at Brownstein, graduated from law school. He's one example of the impact of this event. So a huge thank you to all of you. So props to Nigel. And Denver Kids stands in solidarity with Martin Luther King, a vision of fair treatment, access, opportunity, advancement of historically disenfranchised individuals and communities. We stand in solidarity with a vision that is more important than ever, and partnerships with so many of the organizations represented in this room, including Coors and Health One, that has partnered with us in many other ways than just this event. This work is truly the result of a collaboration and a community coming together around justice and equity. Thanks for all of us, all of you for being here, and thank you also to Stephen Strait, who works exceptionally hard putting this together. Thank you, Stephen, as well.
Keep up the great work, Patrick, and thank you again, Michael and Maureen. And just in case you're wondering where all this effort and donations are going to, in your program, you will see 2 pages at least, maybe more, 2.5 pages filled with all of the students that are benefactors of this great scholarship. So thank you again for your support. Now, as I mentioned earlier, today we are live and in person, but we're also streaming. Last year, we were completely virtual because COVID. And because of that, we didn't get a chance to see and meet our Martin Luther King Jr. Business Awards 2021 honorees. But good news, they are here today. So as I call each of the 6 or 7 honorees, would you all, each of you, stand so we can give you a big warm round of applause? First we have Annie Gao Van Dan with Asian Avenue Magazine. Marsha Brown. Hey, Marsha. Demisha Hill. Carla Ladd. Morris Price, Jr. Zola Strong with The Other Side Academy. And our 2021 Martin Luther King Jr. Business Trailblazer Award was, and still is, the amazing Roz Dumont. Now you can check out their videos online at www.mlkbusinessawards.org, all one word, mlkbusinessawards.org, and you can see their videos. And now it's time to meet the recipients of the 2022 Martin Luther King Jr. Business Awards. Where does the time go? My goodness. Here are this year's distinguished winners, each of whom have clearly helped Dr. King's dream come true here in Colorado. Today, we celebrate the content of their character, and this production was made possible through the generosity of CoBank.
Because I have a dream. My 4 little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. I have a dream today.
Dr. King once said, "Life's most persistent and urgent question is, what are you doing for others?" The humanitarians we honor today clearly understand Dr. King's call and are answering by making dramatic improvements in the lives of so many others. Today, we celebrate the content of their character. Hello everyone, I'm Tamara Banks, and welcome to the 2022 Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Business Awards, as we honor 4 inspirational individuals and companies in our community and pay special tribute to one of our civil rights pioneers with the Trailblazer Award. This year marks the 37th anniversary of this event. In 1986, 2 years after the passage of House Bill 1201, that established Dr. King's birthday as a holiday in Colorado, Mrs. Wilma J. Webb founded the Martin Luther King Jr. Business Social Responsibility Awards to give the business community an opportunity to honor the memory of Dr. King and reaffirm our commitment to the values he taught us. 7 years ago, the name of the award was shortened to the Martin Luther King Jr. Business Awards. A total of 260 individuals, corporations, and nonprofit organizations have received this meaningful award over the years. Today, we add 5 more names to this distinguished list. It all started with a little field trip. Little did the students know that the trip would significantly alter their perspective on life. In the fall of 2019, students and staff from Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Early College embarked on a trip to visit Howard University and Georgetown University, tour Washington, D.C., and visit the National African American History Museum. The trip was designed for the students to do research, think critically, and grow as scholars and as people.
A lot of us were like, we just get to leave school, we get a break from normal life. But when we actually went there, it was definitely a trip that changed all of our lives.
When George Floyd was murdered by a Minneapolis police officer, and the uprising in the Black Lives Matter movement sparked protests throughout the world, Janelle Naga, Alana Mitchell, Kalia Yazar, and Danny Austin were even more motivated to share their voice.
When COVID happened, everyone was at home and the murder of George Floyd happened. And for me personally, it was very emotional. After seeing someone of my skin tone that was being murdered by police brutality, especially for a reason that did not make sense, it was just very heartbreaking.
And with that, the No Justice, No Peace, that's KNOW, podcast was created by these 4 dynamic young women. The podcast eventually led to the passage of the No Justice, No Peace resolution in Denver Public Schools, acknowledging that the history of Black, Indigenous, and people of color must be taught as part of the curriculum in the district.
Our podcast actually started talking about Frederick Douglass's What to the Slave is the 4th of July. We really just want to talk about a lot of things that we hadn't learned in school as Black students about our own Black history. And without your history, you don't really know who you are yourself because you don't know where you are and where your roots came from. So you can't become the best version of yourself unless you know your history.
John Bailey is the CEO and principal of the Bailey Consulting Network, chair of the Black Economic Opportunities Council, and founder and lead convener of the Black Cannabis Equity Initiative.
To whom much is given, much is expected. And therefore, how do you use what you know about what you know to be able to make a difference in the community?
John is a political, business, and corporate community consultant who specializes in social equity, diversity and inclusion programming, as well as community engagement, planning, project implementation, and outreach. He's a former New Jersey Municipal Cabinet appointee and National Director of Weed and Seed with the Bush and Clinton administrations.
I became a key architect in terms of trying to make sure that programmatically those things that were important, violent offenders removal, neighborhood revitalization, safe haven, and community-oriented policing were in fact things that were put forward on the table in terms of how we go about dealing with 21st century policing and public safety in this country.
John is also the guiding force behind the Colorado Black Roundtable, a statewide organization composed of elected officials, community organizations, faith leaders, educators, and citizens.
Part of who I am is having good people around you that will allow you to be able to get the job done. As you know, I just lost the most important person, and Dr. Bailey.
Sadly, John's wife, Dr. Sharon Bailey, passed away on Friday, December 3rd. She was a dedicated civil rights activist and ombudsperson to Denver Public Schools. More than 30 years ago, former First Bank President Ken Chi started to teach financial literacy to non-English speaking Chinese communities. It was a vision and a commitment to provide the most basic banking services to diverse ethnic communities.
And for us, with multicultural banking, it's creating that American dream. We think that's really important. Most people come to this country not knowing, the American banking system, and they have that extra layer where they need to learn the language, they need to, understand the American way of life, and so we're there to kind of help them and guide them through the process.
When Tony Ohm's father dreamed of opening a restaurant, he came to First Bank to help finance the new business.
My parents were from Cambodia. They're refugees from Cambodia. They survived, they lived through the Khmer Rouge regime. So during the war, when there was no food, he was like, one day I'm going to start a restaurant.
Tony remembers the excitement his family felt when they received notice that they were approved for a $60,000 loan. Tony started working alongside his father in the restaurant at 9 years old, along with his brother and mother. 13 years after his parents opened the restaurant, Tony graduated from college and was ready to start his career. As fortune would have it, Tony applied for a position at First Bank. Today, Tony is the Executive Vice President of the First Bank Multicultural Banking Center, a concept he has been developing since 2015. Samuel Engineering was founded in 1996 by Claudia Samuel, primarily with an electrical design focus.
So I usually refer to it as my fifth child.
In 2000, her husband Evrod joined the company.
We have two core values. One is excellence in everything we do, and the other one is compassion.
Essie has managed projects in more than 30 countries worldwide. In 2008, the company was ranked in the Inc. 500 list of fastest growing private companies in the U.S. Essie was also voted one of the top workplaces by the Denver Post in 2013. In 2019, Essie won the Rocky Mountain and Texas Oil and Gas Engineering Company of the Year award for the fourth time.
I finished my bachelor's in electrical engineering in 1990. Our first child, Vanessa, was born in 1991, Howard 1992, Crystal 1993, and Evelyn 1995. Also in 1995, I finished a master's degree in electrical engineering. During that 5 years, I also worked for a couple large engineering companies on a part-time basis. So by 1996, with 4 kids and a master's degree, it was just too much to try to find good quality childcare and still, work full-time outside the home. So that's why I started the company, really.
2 of their children also work for the company. The Samuels are from the tiny Caribbean island of Grenada. It was ingrained in them at an early age, at home, at church, and at school, that all people should be valued no matter their socioeconomic level, skin color, nationality, or life choices. And Essie has an unparalleled commitment to their employees and the community.
I think it's very important to give back. You flourish more when you give back.
In 2007, we began honoring our civil rights pioneers with the Trailblazer Award. Our 16th honoree is Dennis Gallagher. The remarkable 45-year political career of Dennis Gallagher has had its ups and downs. Fortunately, there have been more ups than downs. Born in Tabernash, Dennis has deep roots in Colorado. He attended public schools in Denver, received a Bachelor of Arts degree in English Literature with a minor in Latin and Greek from Regis College, and a master's degree in Speech and Communications from Catholic University in Washington, D.C. Since 1967, he's been a professor of speech, Latin, Greek, and media at Regis University. Dennis attended Holy Family School, where missions traveled all over the world and the southern U.S., and brought back stories of prejudice. That, and racial injustice his Irish family encountered, nudged him toward making a difference in the world as a civil servant.
My dad, when he first became a member of the Denver Fire Department, he was number 4 hired that year. There was one fire truck in the house, and this guy comes up to him and says, "Gallagher, you Irish Catholics on the north side of the fire truck, we Ku Kluxers on the south side of the fire truck." And after work, my dad took that guy out and cleaned his socks off, as they would say. Today he would be fired for not going to mediation. It sensitized me to the fact that there were other worse prejudices going on in Denver.
He served 2 terms in the Colorado House, 5 in the Colorado Senate, 2 on the Denver City Council, and was Denver City Auditor for 12 years. During his time as a Colorado State Senator, Dennis watched his colleague, State Representative Wilma J. Webb, fight to bring the Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. holiday to Colorado.
For years, we were trying to get this bill through for the Martin Luther King holiday in Colorado. And I'll never forget, I think it was Reverend James Boyd, if I remember correctly. His testimony in the committee just really moved me. He said, "I might even want to put up an American flag in front of my house if they have a day in honor of African American leadership in America." And that really moved me and made me want to work real hard for this bill.
Once House Bill 1201 passed the House, Dennis personally walked the bill to the Senate for approval. Governor Richard Lamb signed the bill on April 4th, 1984, 16 years after the assassination of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Dr. King's memorable words of love, hope, and compassion have clearly stirred the souls of the humanitarians we honor today with the 2022 Martin Luther King Jr. Business Awards. We celebrate the content of their character and applaud their efforts to make life better for so many people in Colorado.
Free at last, free at last. Thank God Almighty, we are free at last.
Let's give our honorees a big round of applause again. Aren't they great? If you're ever feeling like, oh my gosh, what's happening right now, the pandemic, social injustice, weather, whatever, just look around and see how many great people there are doing amazing things. And we've got a few of them here in this room today. So now it's our chance, your chance, to meet these folks up close and personal. Their awards will be presented by Dr. Vern L. Howard. I always wonder what the L stands for. I'm not sure if it's lovely or what, but Dr. Vern, come on up. He is, as you know, the chairman of the King Holiday Commission here in Colorado. Our first honorees are No Justice, No Peace, Janelle Nagar, Alana Mitchell, Kalia Yazar, and Danny Austin. I love these women. Bravo, ladies. Thank you. I'll take the notes. Over there, photo off right there. They are so cool. I love them. Wow, the future looks bright with you ladies. Thank you. Congratulations. You can change your hair. You look great. Our next honoree is John Bailey. John has been very gracious with his time at a time when he certainly needed to be given some TLC. Thank you. Congratulations. Our next honoree is Tony Ohm, accepting for First Bank Multicultural Banking Center. This is just an example of the result of immigrants and refugees coming to this country to live the American dream. Thanks for all your great work, Tony. Our next company is Claudia Samuel, accepting for Samuel Engineering. When she was listing off and Everett, the kids and the masters and the PhD in the company, I'm like, oh, wow. Like my husband says, women are smarter. And the 16th recipient of the prestigious Trailblazer Award, Dennis Gallagher. If you have ever sat down, if you've not ever sat down with Dennis Gallagher, you are missing a treat. He is the epitome of a storyteller, and he has some great stories. And thank you for sharing the story about your family and the Ku Klux Klan and the encounters they had. Oh my goodness. Congratulations to all our honorees this afternoon. Back in 1957, 9 brave African-American students dared to try to integrate Central High School in Little Rock, Arkansas, despite the very strong, that's putting it lightly, objection of Arkansas Governor Orville Faubus. They became known as the Little Rock Nine, right? The youngest member of the group was 14-year-old Carlotta Walls. We're honored today to have her deliver our keynote address. Please turn your attention to the screens for Carlotta Walls Lanier.
Well, good morning or early afternoon. It is good to be with you on this special occasion and to honor the awardees to which I congratulate. I want them to remember you didn't get here alone, and to take a close look at and to celebrate the idea of King's wonderful words, the content of our character. How many times have you heard these words? King was speaking of how we should judge one another, not by the color of our skin, but by the content of our character. So today, his spirit, his push for all of us to be our better selves has brought us together on this occasion. And I'd like to thank the MLK awardee committee for this invitation. Martin Luther King said many things that gave us the opportunity to direct our attention to self-improvement. Here's a comment that I was recently reminded of that he also said. It was in a letter of President Eisenhower requesting federal assistance with the integration of my high school in Little Rock, Arkansas. Quote, "In the long run, justice finally must spring from a new moral climate," unquote. These words have a great deal of resonance for all of us because we are living in yet another season where we long for the new moral climate. And we wonder, who will be the one who will step forward and who will speak the words we need to hear? Are they being spoken now and we just aren't paying attention? But that new moral climate is what all of us need to embrace. First, I will tell you an abridged version of my own story for those who may not know it, and then suggest what lessons I learned that might be helpful for today. This year is the 65th anniversary for the 9 of us who entered Central High School in Little Rock, Arkansas in September of 1957. I am a direct product of a Supreme Court decision, Brown versus Board of Education, passed in May of 1954. Now, it took 3 years for it to be implemented in Little Rock due to a plan that the school board had to execute. They immediately said that they would abide by the Supreme Court decision, but they had to put a plan in place, which was their all deliberate speed, which was building 2 new high schools and integrating only 1. In September of 1957, 9 students remained out of the 147 that could go to that particular school, and of the 114 that did sign up for the fall of 1957. These 9 students, which I was a part of, remained to go to the high school that was voted, when built and completed in 1927, the most beautiful high school in America by the American Architect Institute. And it was ranked as one of the top 40 high schools in America. Now, who wouldn't want to go to the most beautiful high school in America, and especially if it was ranked in the top 40? Unfortunately, the governor was swayed by segregationists to impede the integration and called out the Arkansas National Guard to protect the citizens of Little Rock, which was more accurate, to keep out the colored or Negro people. Litigation took place in the federal courts, and the President of the United States called out the 101st Airborne to escort and protect us from the mob for our school year of 1957-58. The story is 3 years long for me, but you can read in my book, A Mighty Long Way, My Journey to Justice at Little Rock Central High School. Now, in my travels around the country, in my opportunities that I have had to give talks about my story at Central 65 years ago, I see the possibility of hope. I am optimistic that the long arc of the moral universe is long, but it will bend toward justice, as Dr. King expressed it. I believe we get to that moral climate by not giving up. Back at Central, it became a time of just getting up every day and putting on my best self and going into the fray. We must turn to the young among us, the next generation, the ones that will step forward, such as today's awardees, who hopefully will understand this deep history and importance of rebuilding that moral climate. I would like to close today with some of the lessons that I learned back then. I learned to hang in there until the job is done. I learned to trust myself and my own instincts first. I learned that others were there for me, my parents, my church, my neighbors, and even strangers who sent letters through the mail. The 9 of us who entered Little Rock Central High School in the fall of 1957 might well be called the designated drivers of Brown versus Board of Education. We entered Central High School because 9 white men in Washington, the justices of the Supreme Court, had decided that schools should not be segregated. They should be integrated. It was our right to go to a public school in our neighborhood. Now back to that high moral climate that King spoke of all those years ago. How do each of us play a role in creating this climate? I say, don't let apathy or indifference get you. Try to find common ground about something in your humanity that connects you with other people. The world over, we all care about our families, our holidays, and customs. Try to find the small something that can make a bond with another person. Never underestimate the good that can come from the smallest act of kindness. These are really easy habits to embrace. If you do so, the change in the world could be significant. They may serve as a way toward the higher moral climate. Thank you, and let us remember on Monday that it is a day of service, and hopefully 2022 is a better year for ourselves and those around us. And instead of just having a blessed day, I say have a day that matters. Thank you.
Thank you, Carlotta. She is an incredible woman. I've had the honor of interviewing her a few times. She's amazing. And I agree with her. Let's try to find that high moral climate, try to create that. So as we conclude today for our final word, I'd like to introduce up to the podium the coordinating sponsor of today's event is Denver Metro Chamber of Commerce. Please welcome President J.J. Ament.
Such incredible stories and such incredible people. The Denver Metro Chamber is honored to be part of this great event. The Martin Luther King Jr. Business Awards, a high honor that's bestowed upon individuals, businesses, corporations, nonprofits who've contributed so enormously to the greater community within the context and the spirit of Dr. King. And so those criteria that are being evaluated, embracing the concepts of equal opportunity for all, promoting goodwill toward all people, and encouraging programs which make the world a better place. Those are the criteria that these awards are based on, and really hope that we can all endeavor to live by. And at the Denver Metro Chamber of Commerce, we're committed to building that diverse and inclusive environment for our community to continue to grow and to thrive. And our members, and many of you are members, so thank you, but you're actually investing in the communities where we live and work to make these new opportunities happen, primarily through our work that we call Prosper Colorado, that says no matter your race, ethnicity, gender, we want you to be full participants in the community together as a great Colorado. Regardless of race, ethnicity, or gender, we are one Colorado family. So congratulations again to today's award recipients. What a great recognition for all of your work. So many of the unbelievable stories. And thank you to each of you for joining us today, both here in person, and isn't it great to be back in person a little bit? It's spectacular. But also for those of you who are joining us online. Thank you all very much. And mark your calendar right now. You're all invited to join us again on Friday, January 13th, 2023, for the 38th annual Martin Luther King Jr. Business Awards. So mark it down now. COVID-free, we will be back to honor those who are making such an enormous difference in our community. Thank you all very much. Thank you for coming today, and have a fantastic weekend and a huge, blessed and day of service throughout this weekend and on Monday. Thank you very much.